So you want to book a wedding photographer? Well, you're in the right area. I'm a wedding photographer, so good job. End of video. Okay, all right, so you don't have to hire me if you don't want to, but I would definitely appreciate it considering I do have a family and a young little girl that depends on me for financial support. But it's okay. Regardless, picking a wedding photographer can be very difficult. A lot of people look the same, prices are all over the place. I mean, you'll find somebody charging $5 and you'll find somebody charging $5,000. So what's the right pick? How do you choose a photographer that's gonna fit you and get you the look that you want? Well, don't worry. I am gonna help you out. So the first thing you really wanna do when looking to book a wedding photographer is you want to look and see if you have any friends or family members that previously got married. And when I say previously, I mean recently got married, because a photographer's style and how they do things can change over time very quickly, actually. So you want to ask your friends or your family members, like, hey, when you got married, who did you use? And did you like them? Did you have a good experience? Because even if they produce great quality work, that experience can be really, really bad. So it's good to have an overall understanding of exactly what they liked and what they didn't like, okay? So once you kind of, figure out like, hey, these are the people that so-and-so used or whatever, you can put together a list. You want to have like about a list of 10 or so photographers from referrals of people, and then you want to start researching them, okay? So that is number one. Get a list of people from referrals, and then you look them up. So now you have that list of people that you got from your friends and your family members that they've used. You look them up and you look at the work. Now, you try to find work that resonates with you. So if you get a good emotion out of that work, then you want to look deeper into that photographer. So now there's going to be different styles of work. Now there's people who are quote unquote light and airy photographers, then there's dark and moody photographers, and then there's like just a whole bunch of different styles. Like a good photographer is not going to just be stuck to one style or the other, because you're going to be in a situation where if it rains or if it gets too dark too fast, you need somebody that can work in any situation. For example, if you just choose somebody who is light and airy only, if it's in a situation where it's raining outside and you have to shoot indoors, you are not gonna like those photos. And the same thing goes with only a dark and moody photographer. Like if you're somebody who's, gonna be in a bright sunny field, you don't want somebody just, lighting everything, making it look like it's dark and at night every single time. You need somebody that can use the best course of action for when it's necessary. So if I see a sunny situation, I'm gonna shoot sunny. I'm gonna shoot bright and airy. If I see a situation where it's gonna call for a really nice looking dark and moody shot, I'm gonna do that too. But you wanna get somebody that utilizes both actions, kind of brings in the whole feel together for you. So that way you're not just left wanting more. Okay, so now you've gone through your list, you found people that resonate well with you, you've narrowed it down from 10 photographers that you've gotten referrals from. Now you've probably put it down to about 5 or so people that you wanna contact, okay? Now, when contacting these photographers, a lot of photographers, they probably don't have their pricing listed on their websites. And a lot of people do that because everything's kind of custom built. So like if you're somebody that only needs like 8 hours of work instead of 10 hours, or if you need something that doesn't have albums, or whatever the case may be, a lot of photographers kind of like to custom build those packages for you. I myself included. So what you really want to do before contacting those photographers is you want to go through their websites, you want to see kind of like, is there any variations of work? Are you hiring one photographer, or are you going to be hiring multiple different styles of photographers? So you want to kind of do a little bit of research before you reach out to them, okay? And then once you have figured out like, okay, cool, these are the people I really want to get in touch with, now you got to figure out what kind of questions do I ask? And here's the big part. So please pay attention to this. So look, I know the first thing you really want to do when asking a photographer about themselves or if they're available for your wedding day is, how much do you cost? Let me tell you, as a photographer, the most annoying thing is when somebody just reaches out and goes, how much do you charge for photography? That's not what we want to hear. We want to hear, hey, I really love your work. I have a wedding coming up. I'd love to know if you're available. Can we talk? Okay, that kind of opens the door for conversation. But if you're reaching out and you're just looking for pricing, that's a huge turnoff for anybody, honestly. But the reality is, you have a budget, I get it. But when you make a budget and you're trying to figure out photography and videography costs, and like I said, pricing is all over the place, you kind of have to understand, if you really want good quality work, if you really want that great kind of experience, it's gonna cost you a little more. And the reason why photographers range from like 0 to $1 million is because you're gonna have different types of skill sets. You're gonna have people who are just starting out. You're gonna have people who are what's called factory companies. A factory company is somebody who basically does more than 100 weddings per year and also assigns different types of photographers to you. For example, there are photography companies out there that you don't get to choose a photographer. You never get to meet that photographer. You just show up on the wedding day. You say, hey, my name is X, Y, and Z, and I'm gonna shoot your wedding, and you shove a camera in their face, and there's zero connection between you and that person. That's not how you really build a great look for your wedding, in my personal opinion. I mean, look, if that factory photography company is within your budget and you're okay with just getting some decent shots and maybe some basic shots, then that's fine. That's on you. But if you're somebody who's like really wants that great experience, you want to work with a boutique company, a company that's like, hey, I am the owner, I am the main photographer, I am somebody who's really gonna just take care of everything for you. Because look, when I got married, the last thing that I wanted to do is go through like secretaries and assistants and whatever just to get to the photographer to talk to them, or just to get to that person to talk to them. It doesn't click well with you. It's your wedding day. The last thing you want to do is be stressed, okay? So when you're reaching out to a photographer, make sure you kind of like figure out like, okay, I want to know, hey, are you available? Are you going to be there to be shooting my wedding, or who's going to be there to shoot my wedding? And I want to have a conversation, you know? Schedule a phone call with them. Emails, they're not very good for connecting, and you're not going to get to know a personality too well. Schedule a call. Schedule a Skype call. I'm sorry. I'm like back in 1990. Schedule, a video chat with them. Figure them out, get to know who they are, and that way you can get a good build on their personalities. So now you've touched base with these photographers that you want to get in contact with. You've kind of figured out, hey, okay, I really want to talk to you, get to know you. Now, a lot of photographers, they're going to just immediately show you their best work. If you're ever looking on their Instagrams, or if you're ever looking on their websites, it's their best work. They're not going to show you what's in between. They're not going to show you full wedding galleries usually. So the first thing you want to do is ask them for a full wedding gallery, not just one. Ask them for 3 or 4 even, because you want to get a good idea of what to expect for your own wedding day. So you want to look through the entire gallery and see not only their best work, their mediocre work, their basic shots. How do they handle it? So you go through all of that stuff, and you kind of get a good idea of what you're going to be expecting. So you ask them for a full wedding gallery. You ask them about their pricing structure. You ask them, basically, what can I expect on my wedding day? When are you going to be delivering the photos? Is an engagement shoot included in the package? I always recommend doing an engagement shoot with whatever photographer you choose. An engagement shoot is just the opportune time to not only practice for your wedding day, but to get to know your photographer and get to know if you blend well with them. One of the biggest things is just meshing well personality-wise with your photographer. This is somebody you're going to be spending 10 plus hours sometimes with on your wedding day, and if you don't like that person, let me tell you, it is gonna be a disaster on your wedding day. You're not gonna have any good shots because you're gonna hate that person, and you're gonna be like, I don't want to do this. And that's not the shots that you want on your wedding, right? So you want to mesh really well with the photographer. So you get to know them, you get to see their work, you ask them if their engagement shoot is included. If it's not, still, I would highly recommend doing an engagement shoot with them if you definitely go for them. Ask them, what their policies are in terms of, late deliveries or things that are important to you. Albums, if albums are included, if you want albums, definitely look into it. But these are things you really want to kind of understand. But the biggest thing when looking for a photographer is, does their personality mesh well with you? Does their work and style mesh well with who you are? And does their pricing match your budget? Now, again, if it doesn't match your budget, this is where you might want to think about increasing your budget a little bit. Asking photographers for discounts, I mean, you could do it, but it's not the greatest thing in the world. Look, again, as a photographer, I want somebody that wants to work with me, who loves my work, who likes to, work with my personality. That's what I want to work with. And if I feel that you really love my work that I'm presenting to you, I'm going to really want to go out there and go the extra mile for you and just do everything much more for you. If you're just there, just be like, hey, I just want somebody to come and snap a few shots, and you don't really even care about the work you're gonna get, it's not gonna feel good for me. You know what I'm saying? I wanna work with somebody that wants to work with me. So by this time, you should pretty much have narrowed down to about 2 to 3 photographers that you really wanna work with. Now, these are the ones that you've already reached out to, you've already had conversations with, you know their pricing, you've gone through everything, and you kind of know what to expect. Now, how do you choose the one person that you're gonna pick out? My personal opinion is it's all about personality, okay? You really wanna have that great experience, because at this point, those 3 photographers, they're gonna all produce very similar work, and they're all gonna produce great quality work. So your basis is gonna be on the quality of the service. So now at this point, it's you figuring out which personality did you like the most, and now you ask around, you check out reviews, and you see what other people have said about those photographers. I pride myself at having great reviews online, and I make sure that I go the extra mile for all of my clients. Now, this is not me trying to plug myself, even though I am available and I'm willing to photograph your wedding, but neither here nor there. So yeah, basically, you really want to just kind of get to know what you're going to get yourself into, ask around, read the reviews, and then from there figure out, okay, I had the best conversation with this photographer and I get the best feeling with this photographer. I know they're going to produce good quality work. I'm looking forward to working with them. This is who I'm going to choose. And that's honestly the best way to choose a wedding photographer, is get to know them, schedule a conversation with them, see full wedding galleries, understand what they're providing for you in their packages, understand their deliverables, what timing you're gonna expect, and then understand the budget they're gonna provide for you. Now, again, like I said, budget is not everything, and when you're pricing things, understand that people are gonna be all over the place with their packages. So if it's gonna be something that you really wanna do and you don't have the budget for it, try to find the budget for it, or you have to understand your expectations are gonna be a lot lower. Okay? So the biggest thing is finding somebody you mesh really well with. But yeah, that is how you find a wedding photographer. If you have any questions, any other concerns or comments, leave them in the comment section below. I will reply back to you. I'll get back to you. Feel free to follow us on Instagram at blstudios. I'll be more than happy to respond to any questions on there as well. But yeah, I mean, this is the best way to take care of things for yourself. Do not worry. Weddings are very stressful, but we will get through this together, all right? And hopefully with some great quality work. All right, I'll see you in the next video.